Welcome to episode 11 of the Sub 220 Marathon Project video series. Matt here at Sweat Elite, documenting my journey leading into the Berlin Marathon 2022, where I'll be attempting to break 2 hours and 20 minutes at the Berlin Marathon that takes place in 6 days' time from today. I'm already over in Europe, here in Spain, doing a video project with Freddie Ovett, son of Steve. If you haven't checked out his first episode, please do so. It's a few episodes behind my one here. We'll be publishing a couple more episodes with Freddie leading into the Berlin Marathon. But this is the second last week of training leading into the Berlin Marathon that I will be going over now. And before I do so, I want to answer my favorite questions of the week and also thank the sponsors of this video series, Soar Running Apparel. But firstly, I want to mention further to the mention in the video before this in episode 10 that Soar Running are currently running a competition to win a pair of their marathon shorts or speed shorts. These marathon shorts are my favorite racing shorts by Soar. They have 6 places where you can store gels. So in the front here, there are some hooks here that you can store a gel in the front, or 2, one on either side. And on the back here, you can store up to 4 more, 2 in the pocket here, 2 in the pocket there. And then there's also another zip pocket here where you can store more gels if you want, so you actually store 7 or 8, or a key or a hotel key or whatever you need to store. So these are valued at $140 US, 140 euros. You can go into the draw to win a pair of these if you guess my half marathon split at the Berlin Marathon. You don't have only the choice of the marathon shorts, also the speed shorts as well that I've been training in most training sessions. They don't have as many gel compartments, but they're super comfortable and lightweight and brilliant in the heat. You can choose one of these 2 if you guess my half marathon split at the Berlin Marathon. There may be more than one person that guesses the split, and if so, there will be a draw based on the people that pick that time. I have given clues as to what I'm aiming to split at the Berlin Marathon in this video series and on Strava, so some of you that have been paying attention will have an advantage. But thank you to those that have already entered. We've already had 300 and something people enter the competition, which is awesome. So please go and do that if you think that you might know what time I will split at the Berlin Marathon. Huge thank you to Soar Running Apparel, my favourite running apparel brand based in the UK that have supplied me with the gear that I have been training in and that I'll be racing in at the Berlin Marathon. I highly recommend checking out the Soar Running website to see what you might enjoy from their website. I am a huge fan, as mentioned, of the marathon shorts and the speed shorts, but also the singlets and the running tops that they have available. I'm looking forward to purchasing some of their winter gear as well, their jackets, leading into the winter months as well. So huge thank you to Soar Running that have sponsored this video series and have brought it to YouTube for you to view. Thank you also to Top 4 Running, one of Europe's largest online running retail stores that stock all of the top brands, all the top models at the lowest prices. You can score an even further discount on the already low prices at Top 4 Running by using the code Sweat Elite. We've had well over 150 sales at Top 4 Running, and I'm stoked when I see another email come through with mentioning that people have used the code. So if you are in need for some trainers or races leading into your upcoming training block or race in the near future, I'd really appreciate you shopping at Top 4 Running and using the code Sweat Elite. Thank you, Top 4 Running, for sponsoring this video series. The questions of the week. I picked 4 this week to go through, and huge thank you to those that are submitting questions on the YouTube comments. The first one by Mike D. Hey Matt, based on your training runs, you look very ready and capable of breaking the 220 barrier. As a follow-up to another viewer's question on strength training benefits, in your Q&A, could you discuss any changes in approach that stand out or key differences in this latest training block with Rick that you think may be contributing to improved performance? So I think the major difference, this was actually answered quite thoroughly in a podcast episode with Nick Bester, published a few days ago. So if you're interested in learning more about this, I recommend going to listen to that podcast episode. It's the latest one at the Sweat Elite Podcast, episode 77. I think that we focus a little bit more on speed, 5K and 10K work, not doing so much at marathon pace, but a little bit more at what I think most would call LT1, or L2, I think it's 1, where it's more at that point that's a little bit slow. It's not quite at threshold, it's a little bit below threshold, not quite at marathon pace, but quite close. So for me, my goal marathon pace being 3:18, 3:19 per K, or around 5 17 to 5:19 per mile. We've been doing quite a bit more at, say, 5:30 to 5:40 per mile in our long runs, which is probably equated to close to the effort of marathon effort at altitude in the heat. But we've done a lot more at that pace. We haven't done a hell of a lot at actual marathon pace. So I'd say they're the major differences. Otherwise, there hasn't been a massive change in what I was doing prior to joining Rick. I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to join Rick, is that his philosophy wasn't hugely different to mine. But I hope that answers the question in short, and do check out that podcast if you'd like to learn a little bit more about that answer to that question. From Jad El Halsami. Hi Matt, really enjoying the series. A question I have is, you said that you are relocating to London after Berlin because there are better video opportunities in Europe. Do you have any theories as to why stateside athletes or coaches may be more reluctant to have their sessions filmed? This is a good question, not related to training obviously, but I thought I'd answer it. Yeah, I really don't know. The openness of European athletes is incredible. Almost 100% of athletes in Europe, I found, are quite open to it. There are quite a few groups in the US that have not acknowledged their existence and just not respond to anything at all. Even if I see them in person around the track, they don't respond to anything really other than hi. And so the decision was made to shift to Europe because there is going to be a larger focus on triathlon moving forward and equal to triathlon to running. And there's a lot more opportunities in Europe from what I understand in the triathlon space. But I will definitely be in the US quite often on short-term projects in Boulder and Flagstaff for the most part moving forward, but just basing in London is what I've chosen to do, and that is best for our business. There is a big announcement coming to do with our business soon that I can't announce just yet. It's to do with collaborating with another company, but that will be announced very soon. Probably not in this series either. Probably on my own personal Instagram and on the Sweat Elite social medias as well, which is also relating to the move to London. Martin Boncalo, sorry if I've mispronounced that, Martin. Hi Matt, what is your most memorable moment in your running history? What does motivate you the most towards next training? Thanks. Again, I would say the motivation question is a good one, and it's answered thoroughly in the podcast episode with Nick Bester, episode 77, so do check that out. In short, I am highly motivated by training with people that I enjoy running with, picking times to join people in runs and in workouts that hold me accountable to turn up and actually get them done. Quite often I really do not feel like training. We all have those days and those moments, but I think that finding a good group of people to run with is absolutely key and very much underrated. And I think that people have different opinions on Strava and social media applications for training. I get a lot of motivation from following people that are a little bit ahead of me or equal to me. So Nick Bester is another example of someone that motivates me a lot when I see his Strava log. He's doing huge training runs all the time, and they often motivate me to get out the door. So I highly recommend utilizing Strava in that way if you're not already. Follow people that inspire you, that you want to be as fast as, that you would like to maybe challenge one day in a race or whatever it may be. I recommend that for motivation for sure. What is my most memorable moment in your running history? It's hard to go past being at the Ineos Challenge when Eliud Kipchoge broke 2 hours. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I was lucky enough to be at the London Olympics though. There were some awesome events to watch there. Watching Craig Mottram come second at the Commonwealth Games in 2006 in Melbourne was hugely inspiring for me as a 19-year-old. That was very motivating. I remember that very clearly. I was at the event watching. There's many, but they're probably the first three that come to mind. London Olympics mainly because I had a few friends racing in Ryan Gregson and some others. But yeah, I'd say those three. Last question of this segment, Marco. Does your training follow a 80-20 structure? Not really. I think naturally it sort of does. It's probably closer to 70-30 or 75-25. Rick has never mentioned the 80-20 structure to me. I think it's good to follow it if you are, starting from the basics or whatnot. But ultimately, I think that most elite athletes' training plan does naturally fall in that path anyway, of being 20%, harder training or above threshold and 80% below threshold. And if I actually analyze it and broke it down, it's probably close to that. But yeah, we don't really specifically follow that, but I do think it's a good idea to follow if you can. But I think once you get to the sort of the sub-elite level, I'm not sure how many athletes really follow that anymore, even though they probably all agree that it's quite smart to follow. But I've very rarely ever heard it mentioned in anything that I've been doing with elite athletes, strangely. So hopefully that answers the question. The training that was the second last week of marathon-specific training. Has the taper started? No, it hasn't. I don't really do super long tapers. That's individual to me. I think that everyone is different. It's very similar to the shoe question. I get asked almost on a daily case now of people saying via Instagram or YouTube, what do you think about this shoe? What do you think about that shoe? And I always try to answer the question, but it is very individual. I love the Alpha Flies, as mentioned in many episodes before, but I know people that have tried them and really not liked them. And I think tapering is a little bit similar. You need to try different things to see how you respond best in a race. I respond best to cutting down around about 5 to 6, 7 days in that period, start to lower the mileage a little bit. Although, in this second last week, my mileage did drop already, but I didn't actually really mean to do that. It was more as a result of having a very long trip to Europe. I was very busy on training camp. It was also extremely hot where I was in the last week here in Spain. So my mileage did drop, but the intensity didn't drop at all. So let's start with September the 11th. The final long run. My hamstring was totally fine this morning. I did a run with Luis Orta, where I did 11 kilometers sort of moderate, and then 11k easy with Lewis as he progressed into doing a 10k build. 5:55 per mile average pace. So yeah, we did the first 11k at around 5:40 to 5:45 per mile, around 3:35 to 3:40 per k. And then Lewis joined after the first 11k. He wanted to do a progression run over 13 miles, so I did the first half with him at an easy pace, which is around 4-minute Ks or a little bit slower. And then, we progressed to run the last 10k, building down to about marathon effort. So, final long run, it was 2 weeks before, 20 miles at 5:55 average. I then flew to Europe that night to Spain. It took a long time. It took almost 24 hours door to door. I was quite tired. Got in on the Monday evening, so I couldn't run Monday. And then on Tuesday morning, did the track session with Best Athletics. So I was on a training camp in Alicante with Best Athletics. That was so much fun. We're going to do more training camps moving forward. If you are interested, follow the Best Athletics Instagram page for more updates, but it was a lot of fun. The workout on Tuesday, I wasn't 100% sure if I'd do the whole workout because of the long trip, but I felt totally fine during it. 4 1200s, 4 800s, 4 400s, 4 200s. It was extremely hot and humid this day. It was hot and humid the whole week. But the 1200s were 3:45, 3:44, 3:45, 3:36, the last one. So the last one we went about 4:45, 4:48 mile pace. The other ones closer to 5-minute mile pace, or 3:07 per K for the first three, and just under exactly 3-minute K pace for the last one, with 90 seconds rest. And then 4 800s starting at 223, working down to 221. 4 400s starting at 69, working down to 61 in the last one. The 800s and 400s had 75 seconds rest, and then the 200s had 40 seconds rest, and we did them in 30-31. I felt great that day, surprisingly. After a long run on Sunday and then a full day of travel, I got in at 10 p.m. the night before and was totally fine. So I was very happy with that. The next day in the afternoon, I just did a 6.23 mile run at 7:30 per mile pace. If you don't believe in jet lag, you don't get it. It's obviously a joke. And then on the morning of, that was in the afternoon, on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday morning, a 7-mile run with Best Athletics at 7:07 per mile pace in the afternoon. Reem arrived into Europe, so I did an easy job with her, 4.42 miles at 8:48 pace. And then on the on the Thursday morning, I actually didn't do anything. I was doing a bit of video and photography for Best Athletics, so I only did the warm-up and the cool-down of their workout. And the afternoon, I did a 5.78 mile run at 6:55 per mile pace. I had a massage to get to, so I had to cut that run a little bit short. On the Friday morning, I'm getting all the days mixed up. On the Friday morning, I ran with Samantha Harrison, one of UK's best distance runners right now. She's run 68 for a half. We did a 10-mile run at 7:02 per mile pace. And then the final hard effort on Saturday, 8 days before the Berlin Marathon. We were very strict on this in trying to complete it at no more than 90% effort, of which I believe we did. Nick Bester and myself and Chris, who joined, who is also, he's doing London Marathon, not Berlin Marathon. So we did 5K, 4K, 3K, 2K, 1K. We wanted to start at marathon pace and slowly build down to closer to 10K pace in the 1K with a 1K recovery. When we looked at the forecast the day before, we realised that we probably would have a hard time doing that in the heat because it was going to be around 25 degrees during the run and close to 90% humidity, which is about 80 degrees Fahrenheit or just under, and obviously close to 90 degrees humidity. And the course is also not dead flat. There was a few little rises, so we decided to scrap paces altogether, do the first 5K at marathon pace and just see what happens. So we did do exactly that. We had the first block of 5Ks at around 5:18, 5:19, then the 4K at around about 3:16, 3:15, and then we slowly progressed down to around the last K in. I had 3:07 on my watch, but 3:08 on Strava. And I thought this was a brilliant workout. It was probably done at right on 90%, maybe slightly less. I felt like I definitely could have carried on for a little while longer if we had to. If we were forced to do another 5K at the end at 3:18s, I felt like we could have done it. And I think that's exactly where you need to be in your last hard effort. So there will be one more workout this week in the final week, but that was the last one, anywhere near 100% effort. And the mileage for the week came to 68. So a bit of a drop down. That's about 110k, just under. And yeah, not really intentional to drop down that much in mileage. It was more that the conditions were so hot and humid. I skipped a couple of runs just because I didn't feel like they were necessary. When it was so hot during the day, in the afternoons here, it was upwards of almost 100 degrees most days. And obviously missed the full day of travel, full day of running on Monday due to the travel. But a really good second last week. I was really happy with that. And I'm excited leading into the last week of training, which we'll cover in the next video, the whole taper, the carb loading, the nutrition plan, and all that. Although the nutrition plan is answered in the podcast episode, is covered in the podcast episode with Nick Bester in episode 77. You can listen to that already, but I'm really looking forward to producing the last video, including the taper week and the race. But that is the second last week of training leading into the Berlin Marathon. If we look at the last few weeks of training, we've gone 68 miles, 87, 82, 99, 91, 93, 90, 81, 88, 88, 90. So I mean, this is the best training block I've ever done in terms of consistency of mileage for sure. There wasn't too many hiccups. There was only that one hamstring pain at one point. There was a couple of weeks where I dropped a little bit in mileage in terms of skipping runs just because of fatigue, but I think across the board we managed it very well. And I really do believe that I'm on track and ready to go on to 220. I think the big question is, will the strength and mobility work I've been doing with Keith keep the cramps away? That is a big question in my eyes. I think aerobically I'm ready for sub 220. It's just whether or not these cramps hinder me again. Because in Indianapolis last year, in November, as mentioned before, I was tracking for 218 until 2 miles to go when cramps destroyed my last 2 miles and I lost over 2 minutes. So I really hope that this time I'm able to combat the cramps and finish. And I really hope the next video is me talking about how I ran under 220, but we'll see. But I hope that you enjoy this footage from the last workout here in Spain of the 5K, 4K, 3K, 2K, 1K, filmed by Charlie McCarthy, who is the videographer that filmed Craig Engels and Jessica Hull recently, and Nick Bester and Chris, who's doing the London Marathon.
Morning.
Last big one. The first one's here. I'm looking forward to this. I've got the monster. I think I'm still going to use this in the race, even though people criticise me constantly for doing so. So doing everything we can for the essentially trying to mimic the same prep as before the race. So got up a couple hours early, had the toast, bread, and banana. 5K, 4K, 3K, 2K, 1K with 1K float. Starting at marathon pace, getting faster throughout. So you guys should be here soon. We'll get going. 2K warm up, 2K cool down to make a 23K day, which in miles is, you'd have no idea, which is 14. I think 14 point something. So looking forward to it. What are you doing, Ram?
I have 90 minutes, very easy.
Different approach for the Second City Track Club?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice and smooth.
You did 25
relaxed.
by 1 minute the other day.
Yes.
Yeah.
25. It's supposed to be 30, but I was capable of doing only 25 this time.
Do you think you're going to break 320?
Oh yeah.
There you go. Confident.
Absolutely.
Got your monster? Absolutely. Got the monster. Almost done.
Morning.
Morning.
Where's my mind?
Morning, sir. How you doing?
Is everyone else doing the same workout? Or
Yes.
Yeah, different things.
Let me get a photo of you and your monster.
How long will you do? I wanted to do like 4K.
Yeah.
Want to do?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get a photo of you. Show your
How
monster.
longer? Some shorter one.
Yeah. So what's the So if you wanted to nail this, if you look back and said you did it perfectly, we'd want 319s for the 5.
Yeah.
And then?
Which should actually feel very comfortable.
Yeah.
In theory, because that's marathon pace.
Yep.
And then I would say around 3:16s.
Yep.
For the 4. Around 3:13s for the 3.
Yep.
Around 3:09, 3:10 for the 2.
Yep.
Last kilometer around 3.
Okay. Perfect.
With it being controlled, like
Yes.
if it's feeling like you're racing, like then we mustn't do it.
We have a rule today, 90% effort, no
Yeah.
more. We can't go more than 90%. And we will look back on the video footage afterwards and give each other shit if we...
I 100% agree with your 90%
yeah.
rule. But like then again, like now we're on a slight undulation, so
Yep.
if it ends up being a bit slower or faster, but effort's there, that's what we're after.
Yeah.
Oh, massive mountain ahead of us.
This guy does all his workouts on the dead flat loop, so this hill with the 3-meter elevation gain is a big deal for this guy.
It's a heel workout today. 50.
Last one, boys. Let's do it. Let's get it done.
3, 2, 1.
Let's go.
Right on. Quick 19. Perfect. Come on. Just past halfway through the first set. 2.6 Ks. Averaging 3:18 on the money, baby.
Yep. Good. Shoot.
First I'm actually trying a Science and Sports Beta Fuel Gel. 40 grams of carbs.
40.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more than the standard gel, quite a bit more.
Yeah, this is 25.
Went down pretty easy. Let's see the effect. 1 or 2. 3, 2, 1. Let's go!
358 for the K.
Yeah. 9K's done. 6 to go.
10K. Oh, 9K hard, yeah.
What was the average pace for the 4K?
16, 17.
Yeah. We're at 13:04, so that's 3:16. We had a bit of a hilly part in the middle there where we slowed down a bit, but we're all good. The rest of it should be fairly flat.
40. You kidding me?
Just uphill again.
2, 1.
3:52. Nice. Let's go. So, slight hiccup, nothing serious. Nick had a rough stomach in the middle of that 3K. So we talked it through, should I keep going, should he stop and take a quick toilet break? I'd rather run with him through the end. If we take a minute and a half off here, it's no big deal. But we've done 2K to 3K, Nick's just glad this happened today and not next weekend. So he'll try and figure out what happened there with his stomach. He told me about 1.4, 1.5K, his stomach wasn't good. And we've stopped at 2, so. It's probably a good thing because it's really warm now. Like,
Yeah.
So, you know, heart rates are up. You know, this is significantly different weather than what we did this last time before Rotterdam when it was 7 degrees. It's probably more like 25 now, maybe almost 80 Fahrenheit, so pretty sweaty. So letting our heart rate drop now is probably not a bad thing.
That's it, baby.
What was the pace on the 3K?
13s.
Yeah. We're 9:40, 42.
Alright, so 13, 14.
Yeah.
With a quick pit stop.
Yeah. So far, so good. It's getting very warm, so just be careful of that effort. You can easily blow over the threshold when your heart rate's up and it's not dropping because due to the heat. So if you have to drop back and sustain a 3:15 here, then do it.
Yeah.
But don't get carried away with trying to follow anyone else. You do not want to be in the last 500 of this rep thinking, I can't go any more
Yeah.
than this 2K. You have to be thinking you could go on to 3 or 4 if you have to.
My man's in Berlin. 2, 1.
3:54. Good job. Nice one.
6:23.
Woo!
Where you want to go? Straight.
Good boys. Right on the money. 3:11s, 2:11 and a half. Feeling really smooth. It's good. This guy's recovered from his stomach bug. He's back. 1K float and then 1K hard. Probably try and go around 3 or 5, something like that. Not too much quicker. It's a bit hillier than I thought, huh? Good job. Woohoo! We made it! Is it too early to celebrate making the start line of Berlin?
Huge.
Yeah, that was good.
Wow. Solid.
Well done. Last K through at 7. Bit of an uphill though. So that was great. I think we controlled that effort absolutely perfectly. 90%.
Still working, but
Yeah. Oh yeah.
a little
it's
bit
tough.
for Esther.
Yeah. We could have gone for 2K more if we had to.
Next week, or more than
Even though